All of you, welcome back once again. So I was getting amazing response in this Uniswap project we have built on our channel, and many of you have said that it is a old project. Can you do a update in the script and the functionality we have built? So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the packages which we're going to use it in the update part, which you can simply replace in the actual application. But I would recommend you to follow the complete project. That will give you a better understanding that how DeFi application exactly work. So let's come back here. You can see this is what I have. So I have given you all of you the starter file. So if you want to get a starter file, you can simply come back here, click, go to this, go to the source code section, and here you can search for Uniswap and simply search for it, and here you will have, like, we have 4 projects related to Uniswap, but this is the one which we're going to focus on it. So you can simply download the starter file. So this is the starter file which is given to all of you guys, and I want you to download the starter file and follow this project. And this is the complete code which we have coded in the project. So when you will follow this entire project from start to end, you will find that this is all we're going to code it together. So this is what we're going to code in the complete project. And here I have done the update. So I have done the update in the script. So I want you to completely follow the project, then it will make sense. Otherwise it will create confusion, because we're going to do a little bit modification in the script, because some of you have got an error and the hard wallet provider that was causing the error if you follow the project. And that I have also explained that when you will do the transaction, when you will deploy the Uniswap contract, you will sometime the transaction will fail. That's all we have talked about it. So here I have done the modification in the script. So you can see here we have this 5 script. This is the deployment of the contract, and this is what we have coded together. So once you will follow the entire project, you will find that this is what we're going to code together. I'll show you the differences, the changes I have done to make it compatible, which will not cause the issue. So this is what I have, and here we have the token deploy. This is the entire contract for token. This is the entire script we have written for the deploy pool, and here we have the add liquidity, and then we have this check liquidity. So what I'm doing here is that when we are deploying the contract, so earlier in the project what we have done, that we are manually copy pasting the addresses. So if I come back here in the script, you can see we are deploying the Uniswap contract, then we are simply copying the address, and that's what we are providing in all of these places. So I have taken a more elegant approach. Instead of doing this, we are storing that particular addresses into our env file, and from there we're going to simply export and use it in our application. And that's what I have done in the updated. So here I have this env file, and right now we don't have anything in here. So we're going to deploy each one of these contract one by one, and we're going to check the liquidity. So that's what I have done. That's what I have imported. Again, it will create confusion if you not follow the complete project. So if you have the complete source code, make sure to follow the complete project, then it will make sense. Then you can easily able to understand that what this kind of artifacts we are doing, what is this, and what is this encoded price. Here we are dealing with the price of the liquidity. Here we have this non-fungible position manager factory. So that's all we have. I'll show you the comparison, the differences, but this is very important. So what I'm going to do is, here I have this tree folder. First I will come back to the update, and I'm going to install the library. So here I have done the changes in the packages we are using. So if you go back to the tutorial one, I would suggest you to follow the complete tutorial. It's not going to create any problem. You can see this is the exact packages we have in the tutorial we have used, and that's working absolutely fine. But in case for a more elegant approach, I have given you this updated code. In that I have taken a more advanced approach, which you can only able to implement once you will follow this particular tutorial from start to end without doing any changes. Once you complete the tutorial, then you can do the changes in the updated, which I have explained in this. Then it will make sense. Otherwise it will create a confusion for all of you guys. So this is the tutorial code, and this is the updated one. And here I have the packages and file. So this is the packages and file, and here I have all of these packages which I'm using. You can see, again, I'm going to simply pause it for a moment, and this particular information about the package is already provided to all of you guys in the starter file. So you can simply come back here and you can get it from here. I have also provided you some of the important addresses which we're going to use it in this particular project. So that's all it's given to all of you guys, so you guys will not stuck. Here we have the swap router, here we have the tokens which we have used, here we have the Weth9 quarter, and this is the etherscan API URL, so you have to get your own etherscan API. And here we have other addresses for, and here we have the package.json file which I have provided for the updated version. So this is what you have to keep in mind. Got it? Now let me show you the star of the show, that what are the changes I have done. So first thing, I am going to execute this particular code, then I will show you that what we have coded in this. So first we have to install the packages. So first thing, we have to install all of these packages. So again, after this tutorial, I want you to set and compare in the packages, that what are the packages we are using in the updated version, what are the packages we have used in the tutorial. Then on the basis of that, you can make the comparison and try to understand, because that's more important. So this is the one which I have to use. And remember, we are using hard hat, so we have to deal with a particular version, because if you have the latest version of Node, it's not going to work. So you have to make sure that you are using this particular Node version. So simply type Node -v, and this particular Node version is 100% compatible with hard hat, and we are using hard hat in this project. So make sure you have to have this particular Node version, and you have to also check your npm version. So this is the compatible npm version we have. So right now, as long as you will have these two version, everything will work fine and you will not have any error related to hard hat. If you have the updated version or any different version, that's going to create a problem. So all you have to do is to simply downgrade your Node version to this particular one, and it will work absolutely fine. So let me clear my terminal, and I'm going to simply install the packages. So what I will do, I'll simply drag it up, and first I'll say npm I, and it's going to install the entire packages we have in the packages and file, and you will see that I'm not having any issue. This is the exact thing you have to do when you will download the complete code. First you have to execute the updated code, and then you have to check all of things. So this looks fine. You can see this is the vulnerability. Don't need to worry about it. It's just a warning. I'm going to simply clear my terminal, and now I'm going to simply run the script. So first script, we have to run this one. This is the first script we have to run. So let me show you what we have exactly in this script. So earlier we were not using this fs module to writing into our .env file, because if you notice that when this contract will deploy successfully, we are storing the addresses here automatically. So I'll come back here. So make sure you have to simply compare a script. I'll go slowly so you can simply pause it and you can simply type it. Okay, so this is what we have. This is the same artifacts we have imported. Again, make sure to import it exactly. So take a screenshot. This is what we have. And here we have the very first function called library. It was in the TypeScript and I have converted into a JavaScript. So this is the entire library. We are passing the bytecode, link reference and library, and it's going to generate the bytecode for us. And that's what we're going to pass it into our contract, because some of the contracts are dependent on the bytecode before we deploy. So this is the entire function. I hope you guys can see that. Take a screenshot or pause and type it. So this is the first function we have. Now we have the third one. This is the main function we have. So I'm getting the honor. This is the one account I'm going to use for deploying the contract. Then we have this with. I'm passing this artifact and bytecode and the address. Same, I'm deploying. Then I have this factory. Then we have this deploy. Then we have the swap router. Then we have this swap router. And here I have this NFT descriptor. Okay, that's all I have covered, exactly the same in the tutorial. Then we have this NFT descriptor here. This is the length and the start, and here it's ending. Then we have this non-fungible position manager descriptor. Then we have this native currency label bytecode, because we are deploying this contract locally in our environment. So we have to generate a native currency which we're going to use for paying the gas fee. So that's why we are defining, and we are taking with as a native currency. And this is the one function I have included. Format byte32 string, and I'm using this with. So this is the extra function we have. Now we have this non-fungible position manager. We are simply deploying the contract. Then we are deploying this. You can see we have this deployed, and here we have all the addresses. So I'm going to store all of these addresses in our .env file. So I have taken this let addresses, and here I have taken as a form of array. Then I'm calling this join method with the new line, and here we have simple JavaScript which allow us to write into our environment, the env files. That's env file. So we are calling this promise fs write module. Then we are providing the path where we have to write it, and then we are passing the data and the path. And if we get the addresses successfully and write in our .env file, we have to simply throw this search console address in recorded. Otherwise we have to simply throw the error. So this is the entire thing you have to write in our deploy contract. Again, I want you to simply follow this complete project. It will make everything crystal clear to all of you guys, because this is one of the most important things which you have to understand. So once you're done with that, all you have to do is we have to simply run this particular contract. Simply copy this one, open up your terminal, and you have to execute the contract. Now we have to simply deploy all the Uniswap contract and we have to execute this script. So what I have noticed that somehow I haven't installed the packages because I have done the installation in the global and there was no npm like packages and files. So first thing I have to go into this update folder. So I'll say cd up update, and here I am into this particular folder, and now I can install this particular library. So simply type npm I. It's going to take few seconds because we have a lot of dependency which we are using. You can see it's installing successfully, and once the installation will complete, we have to simply execute this particular script. So let me simply copy that, and here we have successfully done the installation, and here we have done the installation successfully, and we don't have any issue. Now we have to simply clear the terminal and we have to execute our script. So let's deploy the Uniswap contract. So simply copy and paste. So here I have the entire script and I'm going to simply hit enter. So if you come back to the script folder, inside this we are running this particular command. Hit enter and it's going to simply deploy our Uniswap contract. And here I got this particular error. Actually, it's not an error. I have to run the local node hard at, and then I have to simply call the script, the deploy script. So let me do that very quickly. I'll clear my terminal. I'm going to simply split the screen and I have to type simply this npx hard at node. This will initialize the local node in our system. You can see we got all of this 20+ account, and by default is going to take the very first account for deploying. So once our local node is running absolutely fine, then we can simply copy this one and now we can simply deploy. So right now we don't have anything in here, but the moment we'll deploy, we'll get all of this data in that. So let's paste that and hit enter. And here you can see we have called all of the functions successfully, and here we got this address recorded. And if you come back to the .env file, here you will find all the addresses of the token, including the Uniswap contract. That's all is here. So we have successfully deployed this one. Now come back to the second token script, and if you come back here, what we are doing simply here, we are simply deploying our 3 token. So if I take you back into the token contract, we have this tire, USDT and wrap Bitcoin, which we're going to use for performing the transaction. Again, everything is covered extensively in the project, so you can simply follow. Again, I'm telling you, once you follow the complete project start to end, then you will understand that what exactly we are doing here. So this is the script which is going to deploy the contract token contract and is going to simply store the addresses here. So let's deploy that. So again, I can simply copy this one. I'm going to open and I'm going to simply come back at this side, clear my terminal, paste and hit enter. And here is going to deploy our token. So our token is successfully deployed. If you come back to the .env file, here you can see USDC address, Tahar address and wrap BTC. So we are getting all of the addresses in here. Now we have to come back here in the deploy pool. This is what I have, and here you can see we are importing all of these addresses because when we are deploying our pool, we need the Uniswap contract which we have deployed earlier. That's why I'm importing all of this contract addresses right up here in the pool, and we're going to utilize some of them. So let me give you a quick walkthrough that what we are doing exactly here. So we are taking this .env, and here we have the addresses of the deployed contract. Then we have this artifact because we need this Uniswap v3 factory and non-fungible position manager, which I have extensively explained in the project. That's what we have here. And here we have this ether. We are getting this contract and big number. We are getting this big number. And then we are using the same methods, Promisify and FS module to write. And here we have this decimal point and this exponential alt. Here I'm getting this provider. So this is the change I have done. Earlier we used the different provider that had it. Wallet provider, but here we are using this ether provider. And here we have this encoded price. So this is the true price of the token which we're going to create as a liquidity. Then we have this non-fungible position manager, because if you want to create a liquidity, you have to get the ABI contract and the provider. Here we have the factory contract. Then we have this deploy pool function. So we are simply calling this function. We are getting the honor. Then we are calling this non-fungible position manager. We are passing the gas amount and the token and the fee, all the details, and we are simply returning the address once it will deploy successful. That's what we have. This is the internal function, and here we have the main function. So simply I'm generating the pool address. So we have to provide this information. We have to provide this Tahar address, USDC address, the fee ratio and encoded price. So I'm going with the equal price range, and that's what I'm generating. So here I will have the pool address of the 2 token which we're going to create, and that's what I am storing. And again, I'm writing the same information into our .env file. So let's deploy this particular script. So I'm going to simply copy this one, open up my terminal, clear it up, and I'm going to simply paste here and hit enter. And it's going to simply deploy. You can see successfully recorded address. And if you come back to the .env file, here you will find that USDC 500. So this is the pool we have created. This is the pool we have created. So far things are good to all of you guys. And now if you want to check the liquidity, or if you want to add a liquidity, you can do it, because you have created the pool. Now you have to add the liquidity. So let's add the liquidity. So this is the script we have for adding the liquidity. So again, what I'm doing here, I'm getting all of the addresses of the contract and the token and the pool, because we need this one for adding the liquidity. Right now we have just created the pool, but there is no liquidity available. So here I have this particular liquidity which I'm using. Here we have the artifact, and that we have the API of the contract, which we use it to generate the contract object, and we have to use the contract function to deploy. Here we have the Ether, Uniswap SDK core, and Uniswap V3 SDK, because here I'm focusing that the user can create in multiple options. Like you can go with the Uniswap V3 or Uniswap V2. So that's the thing I'm keeping in mind here. And here we have this pool data. So we're going to simply pass the contract, and it's going to give us the information about the pools which is created earlier. So that's why we have this is also covered in that extensively. And here we have the main function. So we are getting this owner and signer, we are getting this provider, then we are getting this contract, and here we are simply passing this information. So we are passing the USD address, artifact, API, and the provider, and we are simply deploying and approving the amount. So here I'm going with the equal range of the liquidity, and that's what exactly I'm doing here. Again, this all is covered extensively, so make sure to follow the project. Now here we have this pool contract. We are passing this information, the pool address, API, and provider. So it will give us the pool contract, and that's we're going to provide it here, get pool data, and that's the internal function we have here. And we are returning all of this information as an object, and that's what exactly we are doing here. And here we are generating the token, because if you really want to pass the data into the new pool, you have to get this, and you have to use this particular token object which you will get from the Uniswap. Here we are getting it, and that's what we are providing. So once we have the object, all the details about the two token which we have used for creating the liquidity, like the chain ID where we are interacting. So in case you are interacting with the Polygon or anywhere, you have to make sure to provide the exact chain ID. Here we have the address, the symbol, both the token has a 18 decimal. We have the we have the symbol and the name. So that's all information we have, and that's all we are providing here in the pool, all of the detail. And here we are creating this position manager. So here I'm going with the like same price ratio. I'm using this 1 ether. You can simply increase this amount to create a liquidity, but I will go with this 1 ether. And you can see this is what I have. And here we have the entire pram which we're going to pass into the contract, which is going to create our liquidity. So we are passing the token 1, token 2, fee, the lower tick and the upper tick, the desirable amount, and that's all we are passing here. And here we are simply calling this non-fungible position manager contract and passing the relevant information. And now when we are doing the transaction, we are simply passing the entire data. So here we have this non-fungible position manager, in that we are connecting with the signer object, because by default Hardhat will use this particular account as an owner, the first account, and this is the second account. So that's what I'm using when I'm deploying and making the transaction, and passing all the details which we have defined here in our params, and defining the gas limit. And it's always very important that you have to define your gas limits to be on the safer side. So this looks good. Now I'm going to simply copy this one, and let's execute this one. So when it's going to make a successful transaction, is going to give us the information. So let's open it up, clear the terminal, and paste the address, hit enter. And here it's went successful. So we have successfully added the liquidity. You can see we have successfully added the liquidity. We have added the liquidity. And if you want to check the liquidity, so this is the script we have built for that. So I'm using the pool address, because on this pool I have created the liquidity. We have getting this, then we are getting the contract. We are getting the contract, V3 pool contract. We are getting all the information about the pools. And here we have the function. So we are simply getting the provider, passing the information about the contract, and once we have that, we are simply consoling out the data about the pool, because we have to check that. So if I simply open this up, and I'm going to simply copy this one and paste here, and simply hit enter. And here it will give me all the information about the liquidity we have created. So this much liquidity we have created about our two token. You can see this is the tick spacing, this is the fee, this is the liquidity, and we have the square price, and you can see the value. It's pretty good. You can create as many liquidity as you want. Like you can simply run this one because we are using the same pool to create the liquidity. So if you want to simply create another liquidity, all you have to do is you have to simply run the script and it's going to create the liquidity on the same pool. So I'll simply paste here and I'm going to hit enter and it's going to create a liquidity. So now if I want to check the liquidity is created, I can simply go back to this particular one and I can check. So this number will go up. Instead of 1, it will have 2. So let's come back here and I'm simply copy and I'm simply pasting here and hit enter, and boom, you can see this fund went to 2 and 70. So it's working absolutely fine. I hope you guys have understood, and you can only understand when you will follow the complete project. So make sure to follow the complete project. If you have this final source code, again, I would encourage you to follow the complete project because there is a lot of things we have covered. There is a lot of things we have covered. We have done a lot of experiment with the actual contract and the actual deployed contract. So this is the update I have given to all of you guys. I hope you guys can understand, and you can do the experiment with this because you can see everything is working fine. You can do all the experiment. You can add multiple feature if you want to add. If you want to charge extra money from the clients, you can do that. So we have all the addresses and all the contract is deployed locally because here we are running our local node. That's all information you will find. All the transaction is happening. That's all data is here. So hope this particular update part is completed to all of you guys, that how we have built this particular script, and we have exactly the same thing here but in the old version, and we have used in the old package. So you can do the modification, but before you do the modification, make sure to build the complete project. Make sure to have all of this, then you can simply compare and do the modification, then it will make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply stop this for a moment and I'm going to simply close this one, and I'm going to simply close this one. So we are done with this. I'm going to simply close this one, and now let's try to execute this one. This is the one which we have built. So first thing, I have to open up my terminal and I have to go into this particular directory. So first I have to get out of this update directory. Now I'm into the main directory. Now I have to get into this one. So I'm going to simply copy the name. I'll click on this rename and I'm simply copy the address and I'll say cd and paste here. Okay, so this is the one. I'll say cd and I'm going to simply paste the address, and here I'm into this particular directory. So far things are good. Now what I have to do is I have to install the packages. So here I have all the packages which we have extensively discussed in the project. So let's install that. Simply type npm I and it's going to install the packages. So just wait, it's going to make the installation very quickly, and you guys can see that what exactly we have here. So we have successfully installed all the packages. Now let's clear it up. Again, the process is exactly the same. First, you have to simply check your node version. So like first, I want you to install the exact node version. That's why I'm repeating this over and over again. You have to install the exact node version and the npm exact version. So once you're done with that, now let's start that. So type npx add node, and this is going to start the local node in your system. And here you can see we got this 20 plus account. But before we run the application, we have to do a setup in our local node. So I'll simply cut this one, and if I come back and take you to the hardhat config file, this is the configuration we have done for the hardhat. You can see we are using the compiler version, and I'm calling this fork because that's what we have covered. We have covered the fork version as well as the local node version as well. So this is all given to all of you guys in the final code. So once you're done with that, now what I want you to do is come back, open up and come here in the new tab and simply start the application. Type npm run dev. When you hit this particular command, is going to start the application on localhost 3000. You can see it's starting up. Now I'm going to simply come back to my browser. Make sure to follow the complete project. That's very important. And I'm going to click on this localhost because I have stored localhost in my network. And it's going to pop the MetaMask here. I'll simply pass my address and it's going to connect with that. So if I reload the page, I'm connected. You can see I'm getting this particular error because my contract is not connected with the local node. So to do that, I have to come back, click on the MetaMask, and here I have to simply switch back to my hardhat account. So I'll go back here and I can simply connect with the local node, or you can connect with the mainnet fork. So let's connect with that. And right now I have to go back to the account. So I'm going to use this particular account. This is the MetaMask account. So if I come back here, here you can see it's give you all of these account 20 plus accounts from Hardhead, which you can use to test your contract. So by default it will take the very first account. So if you want to import any one of these account, all you have to do is to simply get the private key. So I'll simply get it, this one, because this is my account number 2 in my MetaMask. So simply get that one, come back here, click on this, and here you will find this add account. You can simply call import, paste here and call it import. Is going to throw this error because I have already imported this account, and this is the 2 account. So I hope you guys can understand. So if you want to import all of this account in your MetaMask, simply copy that and simply copy the private key and simply paste in your MetaMask, and it's going to give you this test ETH, which you can test very easily. And if you want to add a local network in your MetaMask, that's very easy. Come back to the add network. It's going to open in the next page, and here you will find all the network which you want to interact with. So come back to the networks. Here you will find all the added network which you have. So here I have added this mainnet fork, and this is the exact name details you have to provide. So you can call it whatever you want, but this is the RPC endpoint, chain ID, and the symbol. You can call it symbol anything, but make sure to keep it as it is for being on the safer side. Or you can simply click it add here, and you can click on this add manual network and provide exactly the details which I have shown you. So this is how you can add. Let's close this one. So if I reload, I won't have an issue. And here our application looks fine. This is my address, the one which I'm connected with. So I'm connected with the account number 2, and that's what you can see here. And this is the network. So right now it's unknown because I'm testing locally. Everything's working fine. If I take you back here you will find that this section is also looking fine. If you come back to the pool, and now we can simply create pool right from here. So far things are good. I hope you guys can appreciate that how things are coming together. Now what we have to do is come back here, and looks fine to me. I'll close this one. Now we have to deploy the contract. So the thing we have done here, we have to do exactly the same thing with the script here, because once we deploy the few contracts, like we have to deploy the Uniswap, and we have to deploy the token, then we have to deploy the pools and the check liquidity. So we have to deploy a few of them to create a liquidity in the front end. So open up it. This is what it's running, and make sure to run this one. If you stop this, it's going to throw an error. So I'll drag it here, and I'm going to simply make it split. This is what I have. I'll keep it on this side, and this is good. Now I have to do one thing. First thing, I have to simply deploy this particular one. So again, this is the exact thing we have coded in the tutorial, and this is the exact thing you will get if you will follow the complete project. So that's all I have. So here I'm simply consolely logging all the addresses in my terminal, and that's what we have to simply provide in the pool. This is the deploy. Then we have this add liquidity. We are pasting everything manually. We have this add liquidity. So we have all of this. Now what I'm going to do is, before we actually execute and create a liquidity, let's try to deploy our internal. So before we deploy all the liquidity contract, let's try to deploy these 3 contracts, like single swap, multi-hop, and user stored data. This is the one which we have to deploy. Now I'm going to simply open it up, and I'm going to simply look for the command. So not here. Let me close this one. Let's come back here, and this is the script we have. So first thing we have to do is we have to run this particular one, deploy.js. So that's pretty easy. I'm going to simply remove all of this. The name, I'll say deploy.js. So what I'm doing here, npx hardhat run network localhost. We have this script because it's inside the script folder, and we are calling this deploy. So if I hit enter, it's going to give us the address of the 3 contract. So here I've got the address. Let me bring it here. I got the 3: single swap, multi-hop, and user storage. Now come back here in the constants, and this is what I have here. And I'm going to simply drag and drop. Now what I will do is I'm going to simply replace the addresses. So this is for the single swap. I have to simply copy this one, and let me go and find it out. So this is the single swap. I have to place the address here. This is for the single swap. Let's do the same thing for the multi-hop. This is the multi-hop, and this is our storage. So simply copy this one, and here we have the storage. So this is the first thing we have to do. Simply clear the terminal. Once we have deployed this particular 3 contract, now we can come back here, and this is our application is working fine. Now if I click on it, you will find all of this information which we are fetching. So if I take you back into our context, So here I have predefined couple of addresses for the main network for the different token, like we have wrap, BNB, day, like DAI stable, USD coin, Tahir, Mati. But I don't have any fund in this particular wallet. That's why you can see it's zero. But everything is working fine. You can close, you can open, and you can find that one. Now I can come back here, and that's what we are simply fetching here. So this is all the logic we have built in the project. I want to simply follow that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, and if I try to make a transaction, I can simply do that. So I can click here. You can simply click here, and you can simply define the slippage and the deadline, which we are doing hard coded in the project. And again, I have explained every single thing, so make sure to follow the complete project. If you follow the complete project, then only you will understand. Now here we have this one deadline, and we have this one, so which is already set. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to select this width, and I'm going to select the next token is going to be our, let's say, USDT, or you can select it DAI. If I try to make a transaction, it's going to fail because I don't if I try to do the swap, I can say 5, and it's going to fetch the coded price, and it's going to fetch the output price, and it's going to reflect here. So just wait, it's going to give me the output price. So this much I will get as a DAI and output, and you will find the coded price here as well. So this is what exactly I'm getting. But here I'm doing with the hard code. Again, I have explained every single thing in the project. If I try to make a swap, it will fail. We're getting all of this, it's working fine. I hope you guys can appreciate. Again, you can follow the complete project, that will understand. So we're getting all of this information. Now let's talk about the pool. Come back here, and let's try to play with the pool. So first thing we have to do is, let me clear my MetaMask history. Otherwise the transaction will fail, because this is the weird problem we have in MetaMask. If you will have a previous history, then it will fail. So if I click on this, it's going to give me all of this information, and I have to select the token which I want to use it to create a pool. So I'm testing this contract locally. So first we have to deploy our local token. So come back here. Hope so far things are looking pretty good. You guys have understood that what exactly happening here and what we have built. So we have successfully deployed our deploy contract, like the 3 contract, multi-swap, single swap, and the user storage. Now we have to deploy the other contract like Uniswap, token, pool, and liquidity. So once we're done with that, now we have to simply deploy our tokens. Come back here, and here we have all of the token. If you go back to the contract, this is what we have coded together: Ryan, Shoaib, and we have the pop-up token. That's all we have, and this is what we're going to deploy. So simply copy this one, copy the address, paste here, and hit enter. This is going to deploy and give you the 3 addresses of the token. So this is what we need. So simply grab this one, grab these addresses, and now we have to come back to the deploy pool, and here we have to keep it, not deploy pool, deploy pool, and here we have to keep the addresses. This is the addresses, and right now if I come back here, if I take you here, if I take you to the home page, swap, and if I click here, right now you will find that the token, these are the token we are displaying, but we have to display our own token which we have deployed just now, so we can deploy it very easily. So come back here, and all we have to do is to simply copy the address, go back to the context. Here we have the swap, and here we have the array. So this is the array we have. Now we can simply come back here, paste the address one by one. Just now we have deployed the token, and this is exactly what you have to do when you will download the source code. Paste it, and it will work absolutely fine. And paste here, save it. This is what we got it. Now if I come back here, and if I try to reload, we don't have any issue. If I click on this, you will find that the token we have defined. So this is the pop token we have, this is the swap token we have, and the balance, everything's looking pretty fine, so it's good. So this is the first thing we have to do. Once we're done with that, now comes the most important things. We have to deploy our contract. So I'm going to simply close this one, and now we have to simply deploy this particular one. So Uniswap contract, this is what we have to deploy. This is the contract we have to deploy now, and that's what we're going to simply provide it here. So let's try here. Let's come back here in the Uniswap, and let's try to deploy this one. So if I bring it back here, this is it's given. Simply copy this one, and I'm going to simply clear my terminal, and I'm going to simply paste it and hit enter, and it's going to deploy all the contract. You can see it's deploying, and here we have done the transaction. You can able to find all this information about the routers, everything, and the address. So we have got this address. I'm going to simply drag it here, and here I have the addresses of all the token we have just deployed. Let me bring it, and let me drag it here a bit. I hope you guys can see that. So simply copy this one, select all of that, copy, and that's what we have to simply come and provide here. So this is the address of the token, and the same thing we have to do here, simply paste here. But in the updated code, what we have done, we have simply stored that in our .env file, and from there we are simply importing, so we don't need to simply do the copy and paste which we are doing here. you can take this approach as well. So we got it. We got all of these addresses. We need these addresses here. So come back here in the deploy pool. And here we have this particular one. We have the Uniswap V3 factory and non-fungible position manager. Here we have to simply update the addresses because this is what we're going to utilize it to call the function in our front end and create a liquidity. Looks fine. And now we have to simply update these two addresses. So first we have to get this factory address, and that's what we have to update here. We have updated successfully. Now once we update this, then we have to update this non-fungible position manager, which is this one. So simply copy this one, position manager address, and that's what we have to provide here. Once you're done with that, and that's the only thing you have to do. That's the only thing, because this is the one which is going to use it to create our liquidity, and you have already learned all of this in the project which we have built. So all of this creating the price ratio, that's everything is completed in the project. So make sure to follow the complete project then, because then it will make sense. So once we're done with that, everything's working fine. Now we can come back here in the front end, and you can see we have no issue. So we can come back here in the pool, and let's try to create a pool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply clear my MetaMask history, otherwise the transaction will fail, because this is the weird problem we have in the MetaMask. So make sure whenever you do the changes or whenever you deploy any contract, you have to clear the history in the MetaMask. Looks good. Now I'm going to simply click on this, and here I have to provide all the details. So if I click on this, here I have this details. So I'm going to create a liquidity between the two tokens which we have deployed just now. So I'm going to use this, let's say pop token. That's the first token, and the second token I'm going to use this one, let's call swap token. So these are the two tokens I'm using, and you can see the fund is also reflecting here that how much fund I have in both the tokens. I can select the fee ratio. So this is the standard fee ratio you will find on the liquidity which I'm selecting here, and here I have to select the token, equal amount of tokens. So what I will do, I'm going with the low, because that's the always thing you have to do. You have to go with the lowest and the minimum amount. So I'll go with like 100, and I can go with 100 here as well. So 100 token I'm using for getting the liquidity, and I have to set the price. So I will go with the safest side. I want to create a equal price ratio with both the token. Again, follow the complete project, that will make more sense. So I'll go with 1 and 1. That's the equal range price I will give, and I will click on this add liquidity. If I click, it's going to open the MetaMask, and here I'm performing the transaction. Click on confirm, and here it's going to call the Uniswap contract one more time. Let me see what exactly happened. Here somehow the transaction failed, so let me do the inspect element, and here you can see I'm getting this one object. Somehow it's related to the RPA JSON point, and the transaction is failed. Now I know why it's happened. So come back here in the hard config file. We don't need to take this because we are not doing this transaction to the fork network. We have to do on the local environment. So simply comment this one. And that's the only thing we have to do, because when you do the swap which we have done about the tokens, we are doing on the fork network. You can do it on the fork network, or you can do it in the local node, but make sure to follow the complete project, then it will make sense that what logic I have implemented. I'm not going to repeat the same thing. So this is what I have. Simply comment this one. Now we can come back here, and I'm going to simply clear the history in my MetaMask. So let's click on this, setting, advanced, reload, and reload the page. That looks good. Click on that. Now we have to select the token. So I'll go with the, let's call swap this time. I'll go with the next token is going to be the pop token, and I'm going to select the fee tier is going to be this. Fee tier is this. I'll go with something like, let's go with little less, 50, and I can go with the price ratio to 1:1. I can click on this add liquidity, and it's going to create the liquidity. Confirm, and here it's opening. You can see we are simply approving. Then we are simply approving the next token, and here it's making the pop token. Click on confirm, approve, and here it's opening. We are performing the transaction. Click on confirm, and here it's opening, interacting with the contract, confirm, and it's making all the transactions. So open up the MetaMask. You can see the transaction is successfully completed, and everything is working fine. Now it's going to perform all of the swap. So if I reload the page, you will find that the data is reflecting here, and here we got our pool we have just created. So this is the pool we have created just now. So it's working fine. You can do the same thing, like come back here, let's create one more pool. I'll go with the swap, then I will go with the another token is going to be the pop. Select that one. I'm going to pick the same fee tier is going to be 3%. I'll go with, like, say fee again. I'm going to 30. I don't want to give more, and I can click on the price ratio is going to be 1:1, and I click on this add liquidity, and it's going to simply perform all the swap. It's opening, we are approving, and here we have confirm, and here we have interaction, sending the fund, and this is the last one which is going to store the information about the performance. So you can open and you can see all this information, and here we have completed. Looks pretty good. Simply reload the page and come back here. It's fetching, and here we have this two position we have created, and both is in the range. You can find all of these details. All there is a lot of information about these pools which you will find. You can see we have all of these details, all of this information about the token, and this is the two liquidity. In that we have bunch of details. We have the factory price. That's all the information is reflecting here, which you can simply check from your end. I hope this makes sense to all of you guys, that how things are coming together. And this is very important. Again, if you really want to understand truly, then make sure to follow this complete project. Here I have simply compiled the entire playlist in one video, or you can simply follow the playlist. Don't just try to build, just try to understand that what exactly I have done, which is very important, so this is very important. Again, if you want to get the final code of this project, you can come back to the blockchain coder. Here you will find the final code. You can simply click on buy, and you will get exactly the same code. You can simply get exactly the same code which I have right now, and you can follow the step which I have explained you. So this is the three folder you will get: starter file, this is the tutorial code, and this is the updated one which I have explained, which you can do it from your end. So make sure to follow the complete project. Again, I'm repeating you, if you take the code and if you don't try to understand that what logic I have implemented, then it's going to create a lot of problem for you, a lot of you. So try to follow the complete playlist. That will make a lot of sense, and you can simply build, and you can do the modification from your end to build something more beneficial for the user to use your decentralized exchange. So make sure to come back and get the final code and the starter code and start building. And I have launched this particular code, which you can see. This is
Hi there. Welcome to.
this is one of the courses I have launched. This will teach you every single thing you have to know about the smart contract and about multi-contract application, because in this we have built one of the biggest NFT marketplace with a lot of features. So come back and have a look. This will teach you a lot of things. So that's the only thing I want to talk about in this video. Hope you guys have found this video valuable, and it's an updated video where I have explained everything about this Uniswap playlist, and hope you guys are enjoying this. And make sure to build this one, because this will teach you a lot of things about the Uniswap protocol, how to interact with the DeFi protocol and the contracts, and perform different application and build something meaningful and beneficial for your portfolio and for your organization. So that's the only thing from my end. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.